Welcome back. It's your lousy Florida traveler. Good to see y'all. Some of you from my hometown may know, up until about 10 years ago, I was big into the metal detector. And if you spent much time riding around Perry, you probably seen me somewhere with a metal detector in my hand, parks, wherever. I did it on my lunch break, before work, after work. In about 10 years, I hadn't even touched my metal detector. One of the things I've had over the years, a lot of people that seen me with it and got interested in it would ask me, what's the best metal detector to buy? Well, today we're going to talk about that. Now keep in mind, we're going to go do a little metal detector and I'm going to show you a few things. I haven't touched a metal detector in 10 years. I pulled this one out of the closet and it is eat up with dust. Now there's nothing spectacular about this metal detector. I think I paid a couple $100 for this particular one. It's pretty basic. It's got some sensitivity control, shows you the depth and suggestions on what you find it. The biggest thing that happens is people get interested in metal detector. Is they get interested in it and they start getting on YouTube and looking them up. They see all these guys talking about the Garretts, the Whites, the different ones. Some of them's doing home front, some of them's doing coins, and it's kind of confusing. So the next thing they do is they write those down and then they start researching them and realizing some of these metal detectors are $800 to $2,000. What we're going to talk today about is aimed more toward the person that's just wanting to get started. He's just beginning. He don't know a lot about the different ones and he's going to do it on land. It's not so much as what you buy as much as learning how to use it. Take for instance, here's what happens with a lot of people. They go out, they see them high prices and they go in and they find one that's within a couple $100, much like the one I just showed you. And they say, okay, I'll get started and if I like it, I'll upgrade. So they start going out to parks and different places and they're digging, they're getting a lot of trash. Now they find some other people in their local community that's into metal detecting, and chances are some of them's been in it a while and they have a White's or a Garrett's or whatever brand, and they start going off with them. Well, now they notice when they go off, they're still digging a lot of trash, and this guy's over here digging stuff that is coins or jewelry or whatever, and he's not digging a lot of trash. So the next thing happens, they say, well, I just need a better one. So now they go out and they save their money and they buy one of the higher dollar metal detectors. Well, then they figure out they're still digging trash. So what happens eventually is their back starts hurting, that goes in a closet, they forget about it. It's not so much as the model of metal detector. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's some features and different things on them that's really nice, but it's more about knowing how to use it. That's what I would concentrate on. Go out and buy the one that you can afford to buy and then learn how to use it. Now here's the tips and tricks that I'm gonna offer you to learn how to use that. First off, all metal detectors come with an owner's manual. And usually in that owner's manual, it's a couple of pages or one page that tells you how to discriminate out and lock out different types of metal that you're not hunting. Make you a copy of that, even if you have to shrink it down. And without covering over any kind of breather holes, put it on your metal detector. Now that you have that done, go out. The first few places you should do should be public places that have been heavily trafficked. Don't set any of that discrimination stuff on it. Set it where it just picks up everything. And start digging. When you start digging and you start finding pull tabs or whatever, coinage, whatever, keep all that. Put it in a bucket or a bag. Take it home with you. Now when you get to the house, in your spare time, start taking those pieces that are the most common stuff that you found, like pull tabs and things that you're not interested in finding. Take that metal detector. Now you've got how to lock it out on here. Experiment with that. Take that item and run it in front of it. Look at what readings it's throwing. Is it throwing all the time trash? Is it all the time throwing a soda tab? And figure out how you can lock that out. Then take the next piece and do the same thing. Now when you go to those public parks, start experimenting with that. Remember how you set that. You've got your piece taped right here on the front. Get your settings, dig it and experiment with it. Learn the sounds that your metal detector throws at different depths. There's a lot more to that. We'll do some more videos on that later on about park hunting versus home site hunting versus creek hunting, and what you should be doing and how you should be setting it and doing your search. But in the beginning, just learn what sounds your metal detector makes on different products. That's what you need to be concentrating on. You take those guys that you go out with that's got them high dollar metal detectors that's only digging coinage and things like that. You can put a cheap metal detector in his hand and he's gonna do the same thing. He's not gonna be digging trash. He's gonna be out there learning the sounds that it makes and digging coins with that cheap one. There are some features that are really nice and simplifies it on those higher dollar ones. I guarantee you, I've been off with just a couple $100 around other people that had the higher dollar ones, and I've used higher dollar ones, and I do like them. But I have found stuff that they walk right over with it. It's more about learning the tool that you're using. And today I'm gonna give you some examples of that. We're gonna slip over to a little part. We're gonna see what we can find, and I'm gonna take some guesses at what it may be, and then we'll dig it and see. Keep in mind, I think it's maybe $200 metal detector. First time it's been out in 10 years. You can see the dust all over it. It's even got some cobwebs on the end. So let's slip over to them parks and see what we can find, see if we can figure it out. So out here in this open would probably make a good place. A lot of kids at parks want to get out and do flips and turns, and they have change in their pocket. So I got it turned on. Let's just get out here and swing it and see if we get any hits. Swing your detector slow. You get excited, and I do, but you miss a lot. Let's just see if we can find anything. Kind of just bring it back and forth in a steady pattern. Alright, we're getting a good solid there. See how we swing it both ways and you can kind of narrow in on it? If we look at our screen, it's showing that it's less than 4 inches deep, 4 to 6 inches, and it's showing it steady on a zinc 1 cent. It's not bouncing any other metal, so it's probably a penny. So that's a good solid lock. So let's dig it and find out. We'll pull out that first 4 to 6 inches, and without a pinpointer, I just like to lay it to the side, and now we'll run our metal detector back over it, see if we have it in that pile that we took out. Same way, work it back and forth till you can center it. And there's our penny. See that? Let's see what year it is. A 1991 penny. I believe that says 91. And anytime you find a spot and you find something, run your detector back over it. There may be more than one there. And you hear how sporadic that is? We can't zero in on it. Try adjusting your sensitivity. That's showing about 6 inches deep. So we'll raise our sensitivity. See if we can zero in on it. Chances are, if you can't, it may be just trash. Now this is showing about 6 to 8 inches deep. It's bouncing back and forth between a dime and a quarter. It's not a solid lock, but it may be because it's showing so deep. So we're going to dig it and see. And just for reference, we're about 2 foot from where we found that penny. Where the penny was about 4 to 6 inches, this is showing about 6 to 8. We're going to pull our dirt, just like we did in the previous one, and then run our metal detector over our dirt in our hole. I think we got it over here in our dirt. Alright, so it should be in our hand. And it's a dime. And no doubt that dime's been down there a few years. I believe it says 1979. So learning how to use it means learning the sounds, depending on what you're hunting. If you're hunting old antiques with iron and things like that, you need to know what those sounds are. What are the things made up of that you're hunting? And what sound does your metal detector make when you find it? Now chances are in a park like this, those were lost by some child playing, turning flips, rolling in the grass. As easily as those 2 coins were laying there, that same child could have lost a gold chain or a gold ring. So anytime you get a hit and you find it, definitely make sure that you go back over it. Now this hit I just got here is a good example. You hear the sound it's making. We get a pretty fair hit side to side. Let's see if we can tear it down. So let's turn our discrimination about midways and see what happens. This is where that pin pointer does help too. And notice it's a little bit wider angle here to get me pinpointed. So we're going to call it right there. Now on the screen, you see we're showing pull tab 4 to 6 inches. You see it's bouncing back and forth to a penny, soda cap. Now, based on the way that's bouncing, when I turn that discrimination up, we block out some of the other metal, it's still bouncing. But the fact that it is bouncing back and forth between those 3, normal metal detector, having experience with the sounds, I'm betting that's a pull tab. So let's dig it and see. We're looking to go about 6 inches deep. So whatever we have should be right in that mass. And there it is, an older pull tab. An older pull tab. So learn to read your sounds. So in short, buy what you can afford, learn how to use it, and get out there and have fun. Appreciate y'all joining me.